It's time to make it. Just give it a try. 'Cause you can make it like the old fat guy.
Welcome to this episode of You Can Make It with David Farrell, the old fat guy. Today we're going to make something wonderful for our summers, nice nights on the deck. Anytime you just need a cool, refreshing drink, we're going to make classic sangria. Now, sangria is from many countries, Spain, and they do versions in Portugal, Mexico. It just basically is red wine with citrus fruits and a bit of sweetener. So we'll start with our normal first ingredient, which is some red wine, copious quantities taken internally. That's for me, not the sangria. What we have in this container is 750 milliliters or a bottle of good red wine. You don't want an expensive red wine, but you don't want a wine that you wouldn't just drink on its own. Just a nice quality red wine. I'd suggest you go drier. This is a Shiraz. You can go with something a little more full-bodied, like a Zinfandel if you really want to punch it up, or a little milder like a Merlot. Whatever you like in a red wine, that's what you should use for your sangria. And we'll start off our sangria by putting in 30 milliliters or a couple of tablespoons of sugar. Just add that to the wine and give it a stir. Then we have to introduce the citrus. Now I've washed an orange, a lemon, and a lime, because who knows what's been handling them in the store. And you just want to cut it into sections. I just usually cut it into thirds, and then cut the thirds in half. And then just squeeze it into the wine and drop it in, each section. And I'm just going to do that with the orange and the lime. Now that I've got all of my citrus fruit cut up, I'm just going to push it down into the wine, give it a little bit of a stir. Now there's one final ingredient. You want to give a little bit more alcohol kick because you're going to be diluting this later. So I like to put in 50 milliliters or 2 ounces of just an inexpensive brandy. Again, something you'd be willing to drink on its own, but not a really fancy one. So we'll just add 50 milliliters or 2 ounces. And give that a stir. Mash that fruit around a bit. Now, that has to sit in the fridge for at least 3 hours to overnight to allow the fruit to give off some of the bitterness from the peels into the juice. Normally you try to keep that bitterness away from your food, but in a sangria, it's one of the flavors. It's a little touch of the bitterness, and that's why you have to add some sugar. So this is going to go into the fridge for at least 3 hours, and I'll see you then. The sangria sat in the fridge for a few hours, and it's ready for us to add the final ingredients and give it a try. The final ingredient is you have some very strong flavors in there, so you need something to cut them back a bit. I find club soda gives it just a little fizz and brings down the strong flavors of the sangria. So we're going to put 2 cups of sangria in. That's 1.5 cans. There's one. And then another half a can. There we go. And just give that a stir. Just get the juices all mixed up in there. Now, when you're serving your sangria, you want to make sure it's really, really cold. Get a nice tall glass and put at least 3 ice cubes in it. I actually prefer 4 because sangria just has to be ice cold. I like to put it in a pitcher with a strainer in it so the large chunks of the citrus fruit doesn't come out, and we'll just pour it into a glass. Look at that lovely color. That is a beautiful looking sangria. But the best part, of course, is let's give it a taste. You've got the undertone of the wine. You got the brightness of the citrus fruits. Just a touch of sweet from the sugar. That is an absolutely wonderful sangria. And the best part is you can make it.
I have a good woman, I ain't good looking, but I do some cooking, I'm the old fat guy. So use that oven if you want some lovin', be like the old fat guy. Be like the old fat guy.